down into the low post a little bit deeper in the second half. Do you feel like you warmed down a little bit in the second half?
Yeah, I definitely felt like I warmed down a little bit. I talked with some of the coaches, and they just wanted me to get a deeper positioning down there because they know I'm so effective down there. The lower I am, the easier it is. And he just didn't want any hands reaching in when I'm so far off. So, yeah.
I mean, Matt, can you just walk us through that burst you had there in the second half, you personally, and kind of what that felt like and what that meant for you guys as a team?
Yeah, it felt great. I just got a good little bucket, and then Coach Underwood started running plays for me. I think he's one of the best coaches I've seen at just running plays for people that are hot. And we just were running the same play every single time for like 15 straight possessions. I was pretty tired at the end. Also, there was a shot where I came off a ball screen and shot it in the corner and airballed so bad it was embarrassing. I was tired. Okay, that was because I was tired. So yeah.
Okay, Jeremy.
Matt and Dane, you guys both come from obviously a really great program. How much does that experience, or what from that experience, really kicks in a game like this where you're down 9?
I think it just helps me just know how to weather the storm in any situation, because I remember in the bubble, in that championship run, like how tense everything was and like how much pressure there was on every game, and like just staying together and just staying in the moment and trying to focus on things you can do, that helped me a lot.
Yeah, I didn't play, but just being able to watch and go against those guys in practice every single day really helped me, and just helped me understand the game more and stuff, like just the little things about just being connected. That was just one of the biggest things I feel like coming from that team. It was one of the most connected teams. So yeah.
Yeah, man, I know you had your moments at Baylor, but when you kind of recruited and decided to come here, were moments like this where you're going to kind of have the ball in your hand, and team moments kind of part of the reason you kind of thought about coming here?
Definitely. Just talking to Coach Underwood, I knew that he was going to try to get the ball in my hands as much as possible. And that was exactly what happened tonight. Like I've been struggling a lot through the beginning of the season, but when people get going, he finds them, and that's what happened tonight.
Questions for Dane. Dane, last time you were in this room after a game, you said, I got to start making my free throws. And maybe it's a small sample size, but the last couple of games, your rotation on the shot looks much better. Have you made any tweaks with that shot over the last week?
Yeah. I felt like I was rushing some of my free throws, and just I felt like I was shooting them too fast. So every time I go up there, I just take a few deep breaths and just make my routine a little bit slower. And I felt like that's helped me a lot.
For Matt first, and then Dane. Tom Izzo said it's clear something's changed for you guys in the last 2 weeks to go from 0-3 to 3-3. What do you think that is?
Yeah, I talked about my frustrations a few weeks ago in the media, and I definitely should not have done that, but all of my frustrations were kind of about things that we were doing offensively, defensively, and, man, I just got to give props to Coach Underwood. He's a very aggressive, dominant type of guy, but he's really like humble. Like he wants, his main goal is to win no matter what. So like just talking to the coaches, I had some talks with him, and he made some amazing adjustments that have changed our trajectory. Where our offense is completely different, our defense is completely different. We don't even run the press anymore. So Coach Underwood has done an amazing job, and I think it's only up from here.
Yeah, like he said, the biggest thing I see from it is just one thing I really like just about the whole coaching staff now. It's more teaching. We got a lot of young guys on the team. This is kind of like my first year playing, so it's been a more teaching. So I felt like that's really helped a lot.
Matt, from a perimeter standpoint on defense, what do you feel like changed in the second half where you were still able to run them off the 3 line, but you weren't giving up as many dunks and layups?
Just some adjustments we made at halftime. We were really just trying to emphasize long twos. I mean, that's what our whole defense is about, is tough twos. And Hoggard and what's his name, Walker, were making a lot of them, but that's what we're trying to go for. I mean, they're both talented players, and that's what we're willing to give up. So it worked out pretty well.
Andy?
For both of you guys, I know you kind of talked about the changes you guys have made the last couple weeks. How much of a corner do you guys think you guys may or may not have kind of turned now because of that?
Yeah, I think it's night and day. I mean, I think we have incredibly talented players. I think everybody knows that. And it was just a matter of making a few adjustments on offense and defense. And I definitely think from some of those losses, we had to look at what we were doing and change it up a little bit. I think I still truly believe we could win a national championship.
Next, do you kind of think?
Yeah, same thing. You said everything. I agree with everything.
Joey?
Matt, how do you feel like you guys weathered that 0-3 start in that month of December and turned it? Like, maybe it's not always the case.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be a teacher's pet or anything, but Coach Underwood just really took a look at what we were doing, and instead of being like, no, this is what we do, he made adjustments. You know, Kofi last year was the focal point of the offense and defense too, and we just made so many adjustments in the last couple of weeks, and it fits the guys that we have. And I mean, with Dane in the paint, blocking shots, and we have so many good defensive guards. I think our defense is really the thing that's going to be our calling card for being the best team in the country, in my opinion.
Dane, for not playing a lot of college basketball coming in this year, what has given you the feel in that drop coverage to make such an impact that you have?
I've been playing the drop coverage. I feel like I just get better with it every single game. It's sometimes where I mess it up a little bit, but for the most part, I just try to have active feet, active hands, and it's been showing. So I still feel like I need to tweak some things and go watch some film on just helping up and being able to stay back. But yeah, like I said, every day or every game it gets better for me.
Back in the middle. Eleanor? Oh, I'm sorry, Doug.
Dane, 32 minutes. I don't have the stat in front of me. Maybe that might be a season high for you. A lot of minutes. How do you feel after the game? And does it give you confidence that you can go for longer stretches?
Yeah, it does. As the game went on, as I was getting a little bit more touches, I got going a little bit. But yeah, just all the work I put in this summer, it's definitely paying off. I feel good.
In the middle.
Matt, you had a couple step-back threes. I think people are familiar with that part of your game. You had 6 blocks tonight. Is that an element of your game that people should not be surprised to see, or was it exciting to show that a little bit?
I started to figure out how to block shots last year, I would say. But I have to be honest, my shot blocking ability has completely come from Coleman Hawkins. I am not lying. In practice, I never get my shot blocked. That was my thing, my jump shot or any layups or anything. And Coleman blocked 2 of my shots in a row. And so I've learned how to block shots off 1 foot and time different things. And I really watched Coleman. And personally, I think I'm more athletic than Coleman. So when you add the 2 together, it's just fireworks.
Any further questions? Right here in front. All right.
Matt, even in the loss to Northwestern, I asked you about Dane, and you said you were really, really happy and proud of the way that he's come along this year. Did everybody on this team kind of see a night like this coming for Dane, the way that he's been kind of working in practice?
Yeah, we've seen it since the summer. He's been working on his body, working on his finishes, taking coaching well. Coach Underwood was probably on Dane the hardest out of anybody in the summer. And if it was me, I don't know if I could have handled it. But Dane he just kept going, and now I think he's the best defensive big in the country as well. Nobody can score on him in the post. He's too big. And, me and him are the same height, but I have a 6'10 wingspan. He has a 7'7 wingspan. It's, not even fair. So, yeah, he's come so far with his body and everything, and I'm really proud of him.
For each of you, what was the point tonight in the second half that you knew you had put it away?
Oh man,
I didn't know until the very end. I wasn't even thinking about it. I was just really just trying to focus.
Watching the highlights right now, like I'm trying to like.
It was
trying
really
to
when
see, like,
it was really when they fouled Terrence at the end. 'Cause I was
Yeah.
like, oh, they're fouling. I was like, wait, what's?
I don't know. I was just so in the moment. I wasn't even paying attention to like all that.
It was
just
like I saw the
it
score.
was play by play, so like
Yeah,
I couldn't really answer that.
wasn't even thinking about it.
Scott.
Dane, since we might not talk to you until Monday, what's the feeling about going up to play in your home state?
Good. You know, I have all my family. All my family's gonna be at the game. I know most of the guys on the Gophers team. So, but same thing. You know, we're gonna go watch film on them. This next game now. We got to start getting prepared for them. They've been on a. They just won. They beat Ohio State. So yeah, we got to get ready for them.
Brian.
Matt, talk to us about how you felt about the confidence that Coach had in you playing with 4 fouls down the stretch.
Yeah, I really appreciated that because he usually takes people out with 2 fouls in the first half, and he let me go back in and just kept me in with 4 fouls. So, and I think that worked out pretty well for us. So I was really happy he left me in.
Anything else? All right. Thank you, man. Fireworks. Didn't expect to hear fireworks tonight. That was good. Not good.
That was a joke. That was locker room banner.
Whoa.
Got to make sure the door's closed next time. Yeah, to be 22 again. 2 really good teams. Go about like those games should. I thought there was some very interesting opportunities tonight before the game going in because they can play really big and they can play really small, and we can do the same thing. And so I thought there was a little chess match within the game itself. With that, I obviously love our defense the last 10, 12 minutes of the game. It's very rare. I think they told me it's been 15 years since we have held a team without a 3. It was a very big stat for us. Coming into the game, Michigan State was 11-1. If they make more than 5 threes, they were 1-3 under 5. Staying home with their shooters was something we spent a lot of time talking about. And then the other glaring statistic that, other than us getting pounded on the glass, was they had 4 assists. They averaged 16. And we were good with them shooting mid-range 2s all night. And so it was, I'm really proud of Matthew. He's got himself into shape where he can play 29 minutes. He played extremely intelligent because I had to play him in the first half with 2. And it's not very often that you get a perimeter player with 6 blocks. So it wasn't just his offensive numbers. He had 6 blocks tonight. So Dane, I thought, was terrific. He had a few mishaps in the first half in ball screen coverage and our drops, but that he usually doesn't make. But and then we really challenged him at halftime because he didn't have a defensive rebound. We've all, most everybody in this room has seen Dane be a dominant rebounder. We need that from him. But again, I thought Coleman was tremendous on the defensive side. 4 offensive rebounds, 8 total. He's playing a ton of minutes, but we beat a really good basketball team tonight, and I think it's the other last thing I'll mention is our 5 turnovers. That helps when you can get a shot at the rim and not turn it over, and a big piece of tonight's game.
Questions? Right here to the right.
Brad, in the first half, they get 18 shots at the rim, and the second half, they get 7. What was the adjustment you made at halftime to prevent that?
Tell Dane to stay in front of the ball. He left too often. In our drops, one of the whole keys is just keep your chest square. And he got worried because we did talk about Matty lobs at the rim, and he was okay, throw it, go. We're not worried about a whole bunch of those, but they just kept driving it. I thought our guards got clipped a little too much, but we did a much better job in the second half of kind of leveling them off.
Doug?
Coach, Michigan State's usually a pretty tough team in a possession game down the stretch. Can you talk about your execution, like the last 4.5, 5 minutes, and is that kind of a turning point for your team?
Was tonight. Throw the ball to Matt. We literally ran one play probably 12 times. And we ran 2 different variations off of it. And then they made a little change, and then we just ran Matt to a post-up. We liked Matt with Akins on him with that matchup, and he was into a post-up. So our execution, I thought, was very good. And then we got a couple offensive rebounds that were huge. We found Dane in a couple of deep post-ups when those options broke down. So I thought it was very, very good, and then I thought our defense was really solid tonight.
Right here to the right.
In the last 7 or so minutes when Malik Hall went to the bench, they've played quite a bit without him, but he affects them a little bit. I'm wondering from scouting them what he does for them in your eyes when you watch Malik Hall.
Yeah, he's a post-up threat. That I always go back to the game here last year. With the game on the line, they ran a post-up play to get him the ball in a post-up. And, we talked about, his post-ups. We worked really hard on his tendencies. In that post-up, I thought Coleman was really good. I thought, his just standing there and put his hands up at, Coleman 6'10", and using his length to bother him and not letting him get to the shoulder he likes. And we were good if he wanted to shoot a fadeaway. So, they missed that post-up threat, with him, and he gives them a legit low-post score that when he was out was they didn't have.
Jeremy?
Brett, I remember a few years ago when you played him, you really praised what Scott Drew had built at Baylor. You had 2 players tonight from Baylor who were fantastic. What about their experience do you think has translated over into your program and how it's impacted your program?
I don't know if I've asked him that. It's probably a better question for them. Obviously, they were both a part of winning at a really high level. I mean, Matt was a key player on a national championship team, and their team, as we faced them a few years ago in the COVID year, we all know how good defensively they were. And you look at Matt's numbers in the analytics, I mean, his block rate is really high, his steal rate's really high, he's a great anticipator. So he had concepts. And, even though Dane wasn't a participant with the broken foot, he was absorbing that. So, recruiting players from a winning program and one that's won as many as Scott has in Baylor is something we like to do.
Tyler?
Yeah, Brad. Coach Izzo was really complimentary of Dane, saying that he kicked their butt, but he also kind of said it's the first time that Dane's done that in a conference game. So moving forward, how do you find ways to, the film's out on that kind of stuff, how do you find ways to kind of keep Dane active in the offense like he was tonight?
Well, if you pay attention, like Nebraska doubles the post before he even gets the ball. I mean, I think, we were watching the first half tonight. I think Zach had 3 baskets, and they were all on offensive rebounds. They take that away from you. So it wasn't a huge part of the game plan in terms of actually throwing him the ball against Nebraska. But, yeah, we're starting to build an identity on the offensive end, and that was and he's a part of it. We felt like that. We had 2 Jekyll and Hyde games last year with these guys. The first game we didn't have Kofi. We ball screened all night. We went there to their place. Kofi had 25, and Jacob had 100 because of the way they covered him. So, it was trying to get him going. We know he can really, really score. So it's just what the defense allowed from game to game.
Andy?
Matt kind of talked about a dialogue he had with you a couple weeks ago, and how you guys have both kind of changed and adapted with the team since then. How key has that been for each of you guys since then?
Yeah, it's called relationship building. You know, I mean, it's what I have to do. You know, I mean, why would I want to force something that they're not comfortable with? I talk to those guys a lot, and I think one of the things that I try to do is find what's good for everybody within the framework of what we're doing. And you know, Matt and I have a lot of conversations. TJ and I have a lot of conversations. Coleman and I have a lot of conversations about those guys. Those guys have earned that right, and I trust their judgment. And you know, I'm sitting in a timeout tonight, and I asked Matt, which play do you want to run? Because I'm running them to you. He said, you tell me. And you know, he told me I'm really good with that, and I know where I want to go with it. And sure enough, we go to it, and he hits a bucket.
Right.
So, Coach, obviously Terrence in the first half, you know, scoring explosion for you guys. But could you talk to us about in the second half some of the other things he did to impact winning tonight?
Here's what he did that was key. Said, Coach, leave me out. Leave me out. Those guys are rolling. Matt's cooking right now. I said, okay. But I said, you know, I got to go back to you because defensively, you're gonna have to guard Hoggard. And you know, that's pretty brave for one of the best players in the country saying, Coach, these guys are cooking. Now it's about us. It's not about individual stuff. It's about us. And I mean, I just got a smile on my face because I'm like, okay, you got it. But I said, you got to go quick. And that's when it's when it's about us. It's not about all the individual stuff. And he was phenomenal again tonight. That's why he's one of the best players in the country.
Brad, Matt was pretty effusive in his praise for how you guys have altered schematically, offensive, defensively. I know you said practice, but how do you guys as a coaching staff implement that so quickly to get this kind of quick turn like it's been?
Practice and I don't know. I always say I don't want to ever. Nobody will out stubborn me, but I also have to realize that, okay, this didn't work or that didn't work, and doggone it, how quick can I get it changed? Because I don't want to stay with it. And I don't know. It might be one of my biggest flaws, and it might be one of my biggest strengths. I don't know, but I know I've got to get Matthew shots. I know I've got to get TJ shots, Dane shots, Coleman shots, and those guys are really good players. And 5 turnovers tonight makes me smile because it means we're moving the ball. And even though we did have a few isolations tonight, we're doing the right things.
Back in the middle.
Coach, 5 assists, 0 turnovers for Jaden tonight. What are you seeing from him as he steps into a larger minute role?
Yeah, what a great freshman. You know, Jaden's a gifted scorer. He has a heck of a night if he makes a couple layups. Yeah, and I thought defensively, I thought he did a great job of fighting Walker. And you know, as he's learning to play ball screen defense for the first time in his life, he's a really good player. He's a really good player. And as a freshman, he's fearless and he takes on any challenge.
Jeremy.
Brad, Tom was asked what's changed about you guys the last couple of games, and he said, I'm not trying to take a shot at the player, but it felt like addition by subtraction and just the way they're playing. He said something's changed. What do you think has changed?
No, it's Sky's a big part of our group, and so he's not here for his personal well-being. We were headed there. We were headed in the right direction, and you know, our thoughts are still with Sky and our concerns, and we were headed there. Now it's just guys got to play a few more minutes. And maybe that's given guys a little bit of confidence. I don't know that, but it's not that. My heart is with Sky and what he's got to deal with, and so I'm you know, that's an outsider's perspective of things, but and maybe it's the truth from the standpoint guys are playing a little more minutes and they're maybe a little more confident, but it's not definitely addition by subtraction.
Brad.
Coach, I remember a couple years ago you played Baylor and they kept attacking Adam Miller and ball screens. You're talking about foot position, and then tonight Epps early in the game they're attacking him and snaking those ball screens, and then all of a sudden he starts making that adjustment. How is he in that development process? When you talked about, a couple of years, Adam became a good defender by the end of the season. Where's Jaden at right now?
Well, Jaden didn't guard till he got here. I mean, Jaden scored 40 a night, and I mean, he's very similar to Trent. Was just a walking bucket, so he could always score more than. But he gets it. He wants to win those battles now. I think Sincere and him both are competitive. They love the challenge. Communication is so vital, and it's a process. It's a processing deal. You make a call, you have to adjust to it, and you have to do it right away. And so that process is happening pretty quick with him now. He's getting better. And we talked about just one little thing at half, and he was able to go out and take care of it.
Time for a couple more questions about Andy over here and Tyler over here.
I know Sincere got tangled up and went out and then came back to the bench. Do you have an update on him? I know it looked like he was maybe about to check back in. Bruce? Okay.
Yeah.
Is he okay going forward? Or do you have an update on him going forward?
It's a bruise. That's all they told me.
Tyler.
Brad, you had 10 blocks, but also 16 second chance points, some of those off of those blocks. How do you kind of balance that between being aggressive on the shot blocking, but also stay in position for...
Yeah, we got to get our guards to get their nose bloodied up. Our guards got to dig back in there. If we're going to go do that, short shots equal short rebounds. And, we've got to continue to grind on that. You can't get, usually when you try to go block them, you're at the basket, you're under the rim, and sometimes you get pushed under the rim, and that's where those guards got to come in, and we got to really continue to grow in terms of cracking down.
Last question here.
Just a quick one. I asked Dane same thing, but they didn't let him get to the low post in the first half. Second half, he's posting up, scoring in the post. What changed? Was that a change that you made at halftime?
A couple things in that. One, I mean, we knew that's what Tom's teams do. They're going to meet you and be physical, and he just gave in the first half. And you got to run around those things. They used to do the same thing to Kofi, and you got to run around him. You can't run through him. You got to run around him. The second half, the other thing we did was a few more sets that got him deeper, not just starting at the nail, but got him deeper. So he did a great job second half. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Coach. Derek, announce or have something on.